Hello, this is a demonstration of our daily routine. These are the veg I've just picked from the garden, and start off with the carrots. Cut off the green top bit, cut off the carrot root fly. Just slice into thin slices with a very sharp Robert Sorbet knife. And then make a julienne of carrots. I like to make them as small as possible because I think they're tastier then. Timothy probably wouldn't agree. And that's enough for 2 or 3 people. Put those in the pan. Just julienne of carrots. And then whatever veg, it takes a bit more cooking. The celery here takes a bit more cooking than the other things. And so I tend to just chop those again finely and put them in with the carrots for a slightly longer cooking, so they're not too al dente. And the celery flavour is quite strong. It just kind of works its way through the whole thing. In it goes a bit of water. There's enough water, and then that goes on to the stove and comes to the boil. It takes about 5 minutes or so. Meanwhile, I'm going to prepare the other lot. Use the sprouts. Take off the muck. Cut them in half. If they're quite big, I might put them in with the carrots because they take a bit more cooking than the small ones. Just put them in with the carrots there for a bit extra cooking. It's quite a big sprout. I'll cut that in 3. Okay. Here's a very small sprout. I'll put that in with the rest of the green veg. These are the kale leaves, different kinds.
Let's see what they are.
These are the Italian kale and the Russian kale. And they're quite tender, the young leaves. As demonstrated in a previous Homestead homily, they chopped just with complete with the stalks into fairly fine shreds. Like so, into the pan. A bit of chard, again with the stems which are under the celery leaves. They can all be chopped finely with the stems. The stems add a bit of colour to the whole thing, a bit more interest. They go in as well. Now the ordinary kale, the curly kale, the stems are a bit tougher there, so I take the soft leaf off the stem, making sure there aren't any caterpillars on it, which there aren't, and again chop this. And meanwhile, the carrots and some of the harder vegetables are just being brought to the boil, and I have to prepare all these green veg in time for that moment, because as soon as it comes to the boil, the green veg gets introduced to the pan, so it can just very quickly steam. These are some beans.
What kind of beans?
1 or 2 broad beans. We've had a very poor crop of peas this year, so there aren't any peas. Normally there would be. And lastly, a few beans.
What kind of beans?
These are pencil beans grown in the tunnel. Take off the top and tail. The last of the crop, really. It's been very abundant this year. We've frozen a lot of the beans. And we'll chop those. Again, you can chop them fine or chop them large, depends on your taste, really. Like so. And then a few runner beans. Again, top and tail. I pick them when they're quite small and tender. I don't like to leave the runner beans too long before I pick them, otherwise they get very coarse. These are very soft. And I just, again, cut those fine. It doesn't take very long, but it makes for a more exciting eating experience, I think. And that's it. In they go. And at this stage, the pan will have come to the boil just about. As soon as it comes to the boil, that goes in and it's brought back to the boil. And when it's boiling, we leave it for a few seconds or half a minute or up to a minute. And then drain everything. And that's the veg melange. Thank you.